What does it mean to be a hero? For some, it means saving the day. For others, it means carrying the weight of impossible choices, decisions that leave no one clean. But for Samus Aran, being a hero has never been about titles or recognition. It's about action, ruthless, necessary action. And it comes at a cost. She exterminated the entire Metroid species. She often defies figures of authority. She now wields powers no one fully understands, not even herself. And along the way, she has done what had to be done, even when no one else could. The line between good and evil runs not between us and them, but through every human heart. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. We don't talk about that part. We celebrate the victories, but look away from the aftermath. The silence that follows genocide, the grief buried beneath obedience, the slow erosion of identity when survival demands inhuman strength. Samus is not a villain, but she is not the unshakable hero we pretend she is. She is a soldier shaped by trauma, a weapon forged in isolation, and a force that sometimes acts without moral clarity. And by the end of her journey, she becomes something else entirely, neither wholly human nor wholly alien. Just the last one standing. Stay with me because this isn't a story of a monster. It's a story of someone who did everything right and still lost something vital along the way. A morally great character exists in the murky space between right and wrong, good and evil. They make choices that divide clear moral judgment, sometimes noble, sometimes selfish, often contradictory. They don't wear the clean white or black mask of heroes or villains. Instead, they reflect the complicated, often uncomfortable truths of real humanity. Morally gray characters compel us because they feel real. They show us that morality is rarely simple, and sometimes survival demands hard choices. Samus fits this definition perfectly. She's not a villain nor a flawless hero. She is a woman who kills, defies authority, and faces a fractured identity that blurs the line between human and weapon. Samus is a bounty hunter. That title conjures images of a lone operative executing missions without question. In Metroid 2: Return of Samus, that role is tested. Taxed by the Federation, Samus is sent to SR-388 with a clear directive: eliminate the Metroid species entirely, not capture, not contain, eradicate. The game reinforces this brutality with a counter. Each Metroid kill tallied as she descends deeper into the planet, and so she kills. Evolved Metroids, larvae, guardians, even the Queen herself, all executed with cold efficiency. But then something shifts. After the Queen's defeat, Samus finds a lone Metroid egg. From it hatches a baby, and instead of killing it, she hesitates. The hatchling imprints itself on her, sees her as its mother, and in that moment, that breaks the rhythm of extermination. Samus chooses to spare it. Is it compassion, guilt, or just exhaustion? The game doesn't really say, but the choice marks her first real break from the path of an unfeeling soldier. Why is this morally gray? Samus carried out mass destruction without hesitation, yet hesitated when it mattered most. That pause reveals something deeper, a crack in the armor, a conscience under pressure. Samus is both an executioner and a protector, hunter and mother, but compassion doesn't guarantee safety. Super Metroid brings the baby to Ceres space station where scientists study it under the Federation's oversight. Shortly after, disaster strikes. The colony is attacked. Scientists are dead. The baby is gone, taken by Ridley. Samus follows him back to Zebes, the space pirate stronghold, and begins a mission soaked in vengeance. Kraid, Phantoon, Dragon, Ridley, she cuts through all of them. In the end, she reaches Torain and finds the baby, now massive and powerful. It attacks her. It remembers. It's its mother. And when Mother Brain nearly kills Samus, the baby intervenes, sacrifices itself, transfers its energy to her, and in death, it saves her. Samus uses this final gift to destroy Mother Brain, to end it all. But here is the question. Did she care about the baby? Or was it just a means to an end? By sparing it on SR-388, Samus defied orders, but by handing it over to the Federation, she allowed its exploitation. Its death becomes part of a cycle she helped sustain. Why is this morally gray? Her compassion created a contradiction. She acted with mercy, and that mercy became a weapon. The baby's death doesn't resolve anything, it deepens the unease. The bond was real, and yet it was never enough to break the system. Samus has always been a soldier, raised by the Chozo, employed by the Federation, sent to places others wouldn't dare go. But in Metroid Fusion, that certainty shatters. Infected by the X-Parasite, Samus is saved by a vaccine made from Metroid DNA, the DNA of something she once hunted to extinction. She becomes what she destroyed. Under the watch of her ship's computer containing the actual consciousness of her former commander, Adam Malkovich, Samus is sent to the BSL research station to investigate a containment breach. But something went wrong. Deep inside the station, she uncovers evidence of secret Metroid cloning and bioweapon experiments. The Federation isn't afraid of these threats, it wants to control them. In the end, Samus makes a decision. She overrides the space station's systems and escapes as the facility, along with the X-Parasite and the Federation's twisted research, is annihilated. It's an act of defiance. She doesn't seek approval, she doesn't wait for judgment, she just ends it, carrying out a mission that no one assigned, but that she deemed necessary. And in doing so, she crossed the line from soldier to something far more complicated, a lone arbiter of what should and should not survive. By Metroid Dread, Samus' capacity for violence has deepened and darkened. Facing Ravenbeak, her final and most personal adversary, she releases her power over ferocity bordering on the uncontrollable. Her attacks are savage, not just to survive, but to destroy. The hunter becomes a force of nature, raw, overwhelming, and terrifying. But her newfound Metroid abilities come at a cost. With each ruthless act, the line between protector and predator blurs. Samus fights not only external enemies, but the inner echoes of trauma and genetic corruption. She becomes a living Metroid, feeding on energy, incapable of piloting her own ship, and moments away from losing herself entirely. Her fluency in destruction, once a tool, now threatens to consume her. In the end, her humanity is restored and the Metroid suit is removed, allowing her to escape. But the damage is done. Samus has become something else. When the mission is done and the dust settles, what remains of the person underneath the armor? We want to believe that Samus is still a hero, that she hasn't become the very threat she swore to destroy. He who fights monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. Friedrich Nietzsche. Across every mission, Samus adapts, evolves, becomes what she must to ensure that others don't have to. But that process takes a toll on her body, her identity, and whatever humanity she once held close. It's not just the enemy she destroys, it's what she ends up doing to accomplish the mission. So when we call her a bounty hunter, a mercenary, a weapon, a savior, we are missing the real story. Samus is all those things, but she's also a question. One that echoes in the silence of every battle. So if the mission saves billions but costs you your soul, is it still the right call?